basically with the challenge, obviously every part of any challenge or any fundraising that goes on within the hospital all goes back within the hospital. So for example, recently, I don't know if you've seen, it was on the news that the Medicine cinema opens. So that was obviously funded with the charity. That was a big appeal. We've also got the neonatal unit that's about to open, hopefully the end of this year. If yeah, end of this year, middle of this year. And that obviously another thing funded by the charity. Um, the magic, the innovation within the hospital. So if you come into the hospital, we've got Barrington, which is the magician that is there for when the young people are coming in, ready for appointments, just to try and make it a bit different and more nicer for the young people that are coming through. And then we also have in the Innovation Hub, for example, there is like the 3D printer and things like that. So before an operation takes place, say it's for a tumour, for example, they can print that off and practice on that before actually going into the operation. So there's so many different aspects where funding goes to. And I think that's an important part of it to understand is to know that it's not just, right, this is just clinical. It's about making the magic for the young people. And obviously, like we were the first people to show Moana in the whole of the UK. So it premiered here first in Alder before it was actually in London. So that was incredible that Disney let us do that. So like all of these things are just so magical for the young people here to be able to obviously see and do. Well, if you look at obviously most hospitals that are just an NHS hospital, there's not any of that. You're not going to find a
Yeah.
cinema in it. You're not going to find a magician for the young people. You're not going to find all of the games and the things that make it nice for them to be in hospital and it not feel like they're in hospital. And I think that obviously is all, it's all down to the charity, really. So that's what is obviously why the funding is important. It's not just the actual NHS side of it. That's the part that you've got to realise as well. Yeah, so Get Fit and Feb is obviously covering 84 kilometres across the whole of February, so about 3 kilometres a day. Obviously you could do 6 one day and then not do so on the next day. We've got a gentleman that is actually paddleboarding for the whole of it, which I think is far too cold to be paddleboarding, but I good luck to him and I hope he enjoys it. We've got people riding bikes and like walking, running, you name it, whatever way anyone wants to travel. If you're a wheelchair user, you can do it in your wheelchair. You've just got to cover that distance. And that's, I think, one of the biggest parts of it. It's inclusive to absolutely anyone who wants to do it. Because you can use any form of transport to cover that distance. Um, and obviously each day you'll just work out how much you've done, and in the post you'll receive a tracker, and each day you'll just put how much of a distance you've covered. And the Facebook group's really important to that because it's communicating with one another, everyone motivating each other and getting to know everyone's stories.